Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to talk about the way I started to manage my to-do list. I used to do it on Notion using a Kanban board where I have three lists. One is not completed, one is currently working on, and another list is completed. And it's a static list which where one to-do moves from one list to another as you finish a task. I decided to implement this as well as much more on an app called Obsidian. Obsidian is a note-taking app where you can create your notes. So I decided to implement a to-do list feature or to-do list setup on Obsidian itself. So first I'm going to walk you through my setup and then show you my inspiration and how I've implemented it. So here you can see I've set this up as my homepage. So let's say I'm working on some random file and then I decide to go to the home page. It'll open up my to-do list. Or let's say I just close all my tabs. It'll also open up this tab, this specific file called to do. This file will contain my completed list as well as the things that I'm yet to do. This is again partitioned into two things. One is the things that are due today and the things that don't have any due date, but these are the things that are yet to do. And if I finish up something and I click on this, uh, it'll move that to do from the not completed list to the completed list. Okay. Another feature is if I'm working on some random file and then I'm reminded of adding a to do. I don't have to add the to do to the home page. I don't have to add it here. I can just add the to do in this random file. Okay, something like this. And if I go to the home page, you can see that to do. You can see that to do as well as what file I'm defining that to do in. So I don't have to create my to-do list on this file itself. I can do it anywhere in my vault and it will bring all of that to this specific page. Another thing in my setup is I maintain daily notes uh, diary where if I click on a specific uh, diary page, it will automatically show the things that I've completed on that specific date. So for example, if I click on 3rd October, it will show the specific uh, to do that I've completed on 3rd. This is what I've completed on 2nd. 5th. I've just checked this. That's the reason it's appearing here. If I uncheck it, it goes away. Feature in my setup where if I click on a specific date, it will show all the things that I've completed on that date. Now let me walk you through how I'm implementing this. Uh, Before you get started, make sure you have some community plugins installed. Make sure you have data view, periodic notes. Periodic notes lets you create uh, a new note when I click on the calendar with a specific format and with a specific template. So if so this is my specific template. Like for example, if I say hello world, this is today's note. Okay. And whenever I create a new file using calendar on this calendar, it will create that with that specific template with a file name with a specific format with this format. So make sure you have the daily periodic notes plugin and templater, data view and homepage. Homepage lets you select a file to be your homepage. So since I've set up Todo to be my homepage, uh, this specific file acts as my homepage. So if I click on this, it will open that up. Okay, now let me show how I implemented this. Okay, so one simple thing that anywhere during this tutorial you can stop wherever you think it's sufficient for you. You don't have to automate everything. One way you can do is have a plain to-do list like this. If you see the syntax is just open square bracket, open and close with a space in between. This is a simple way you can create your to-do list. Once you complete it, just check it off. This will not have any of the features that I've shown. It's just a static list. You can have different sections for this. You can define not completed, uh, mention all the things that you haven't completed, and everything that you have completed. You can manually shift those to dos to this section and then check them off. And this is one way you can do. But I wanted something more. What I wanted was to create a to do in a different file, and I want to fetch all these to dos uh, to this home page. So the way I can do this is by using data view. I can fetch all my tasks. For example, I can fetch all the tasks that haven't been completed. So this is how I can easily do it. So if you feel like this is enough, you can be happy with this. You can have two sections. You can have something not completed, have data view fetch all the things that haven't been completed, and you can have another section that let's make this not completed and this is completed. And you can have another section to the things that you have completed. So the way this works is we have two lists. We can these lists uh, have been created by fetching all the things from your vault. So if you see in some random file, if I make some list XYZ 1 2 3. Okay, I'm creating this in some random file. So if I go back to the home page, I see that appear in this list. You can also make it in descending order. You can say sort. This is the modified time of the file, and you can modify it in descending order. So you can see them appear on top, and let's say I finish some task, I check it. So it'll push this to this, the completed, the not completed list, the completed list. So if you're satisfied with this is fine. Another thing which I've implemented is you must have observed that when I check this off, it added an extra content saying completion with the time that I've completed it. Let me uncheck this again. So if I check this XYZ123, which is defined in this file, so what happens if I check this? It adds an extra tag metadata of completion with the time, which will be reflected in the main page itself. So data view allows you to do this. So let me show you. So data view has this specific setting called automatic task completion tracking. You can turn this on, and with this, I'm just using this completion tag with this format. So the reason I have this format is when I checked that to do, it added this data and it is linking it with the 5th October file. So since I maintain daily notes, it's letting me uh, link it to the specific note. so that I know the date when it's completed and the time when it's completed. So when I go back to this note and I ask, I see all the backlinks. I can see all the places where I've linked to the specific note. So that's the feature behind this. So let me show you this again. I'm unchecking this. If I go back to this daily note, I don't see any backlinks. And once on my home page, I say I've completed something, it will add this metadata with the time as well as date. It will link it to the date file. And on the main date file, I can see all the to-dos. But let's say I wanted a better way to view all the to-dos that I've completed on a specific date. The way I can do is also having a data view and then querying all the tasks that have been completed on a specific date. So the way I've done this is uh, by writing a data view JS. So if I query for all the things that have been completed, so if you see, I can view it over here in the backlinks, or with the help of data view JS, I can view it in the note itself. All the tasks that have been completed on 5th October. And the way it's doing is it's checking all the files, it's extracting and checking all the files where this appears, 5th October 2020. Because that's over here, it extracts this part and then displays it over here. So that's how this works. Also, since this not completed section feels very basic, you can customize it more using DataView.js. Uh, this same thing you can do it with DataView.js in the following way. So it fetches all the tasks, and then let's try to display that. So if you see, it's fetching all the tasks, and let's say I want only the things that I haven't completed, I can just filter that. Okay. So I'm doing the same thing with DataView.js, and the extra thing that I get out of it is I can see all the file name titles. I can see where they are defined. Here, if you see, I can just see the contents, but here I can see the file names as well, where a specific to do is defined. So XYZ123 is defined on random file. I can see that. You can do much more using this. Uh, in the main setup, you must have noticed I have not completed task for today and another section for more. Let's say I want to fetch all the tasks that are due today. We can add an additional filter over here that will check for the tasks which have today's date in them. And this is how I've done it. Let me walk you through this. Okay, here it's empty. Let's try to define a new to do which is due today. So let's say XYZ123 is due today or due on some specific date. So the way I can do it is by adding metadata to this to do. The same way completion metadata has been added to this, I can add a due metadata and link it to some specific date. So let's link that to today. And if you see, that appears over here. So I've partitioned not completed section into two parts, today and then more. where this part shows all the to-dos that are due today. So if I make this due 6th October, it won't show up over here, and I see it over here. You can customize it much more, saying instead of today, you can say late, like all the tasks that are 3 days within due date, something like that. So you can see tasks that are due tomorrow or day after tomorrow. So if you see, the main thing that I've done is by adding an additional filter that will check, that will compare it with today's date. And for more, I'm doing the opposite. I'm just extracting out the tasks that are not due today. And I'm also implementing an extra thing where you can define a priority. So you have multiple tasks to do. Let's say task one is of priority one. Let's make this three. And for task three, I'll make it priority three. So I want this to appear in the home page in descending or ascending order. So that's what this part implements. If I can order it in ascending or descending order. So you can do much more using data view JS compared to regular data view. You can fetch different things, you can filter out things, you can sort things based on priority, based on due date, based on when it's created, etc. So this is one part of the implementation. This all this does is implements the home page, the completed section, and today and then more. The same way I've implemented uh, this for 5th October, where I'm fetching all the things that have been completed during the specific date. In order to implement this for uh, each and every file, I'll have to do it separately for 4th October as well, to be all the things that have been done 4th October and 3rd October. If I have to do, I'll have to do it. I'll have to do the same for this note as well. So it works, but the way this can be done is by editing the template, where I add this extra huge block that uh, where I can modify this by saying whenever I create a file, uh, fetch the date in some specific format. Here it is uh, date, month, and then year. So let's try this out. So suppose I'm creating a new file. So see, it automatically replaces it with the title and displays the block where if I complete something on 14th October, it will show it here. So let's say completion, I make it 14th October. So it should display this to do over here, as you can see. So this works perfectly. I can just modify the template to include this block, where whenever I create a new periodic note, it will add that block with the specific date. So for 14th October, it will add this. If I create one for 15th October, it will add this, and so on. But this wastes a lot of memory. It works, but it wastes a lot of memory. So my idea was to have it in a single page, which I called as task done, uh, and place the page over here. And I want to modify the task done depending on the file that I'm on. So, for example, because this is the only part that I want to change, I want this part to change depending on what file I'm on. So if I'm on 2nd October, I want it to fetch from 2nd October. If I'm on 8th, it should do that. So the way I'm doing it is through my plugin. What the plugin does is it replaces a specific part of the file based on the current file's title. So if I have, for example, 3rd October, something like this. So this will only show, this is static. It will only show the things that have been completed on 3rd. So I want to modify this. I want to change this dynamically based on the current page. The way I'm doing it is by defining a conversions file which has different rules. So one rule I have is uh, in the task done page to find this. It's a regular expression. This is the file. This is the find regular expression, and this is what I want to replace it with. So a regular expression, you can on your browser you can see a regular expression how it works. So in my file, what I want to do in the task done. Okay, so I have this right. So what I want to do is I want to find all the places which has this, and this part is dynamic. It can be anything. So I have to define uh, it using a regular expression. This is how I can do it. So it finds this the specific find rule basically is a find rule, and it replaces that part with this where currently the plugin exposes the current file name, but later I'm thinking of expanding it to other uh, parameters. So this part will be the current file name. So whenever I click on a page, that's what it will replace it with. Achieve this in multiple ways. You can, if you have noticed, you could have done, you can just modify the metadata of the page and then get the current file name from the metadata. So let's try to do that. Instead of replacing this part, I will replace this part and then extract it from here. So it's like a two-step process. While creating something with data view.js, you can always uh, console data view to analyze what's happening. So data view has this uh, get this current pages information using this. So if you see file selected page, so here the selected page uh, key value is exposed through data view. So if I say dot selected page, I can just include this over here. Right? And in my conversions formula, that's what what I can do is actually what I've done is I'm changing it on this page called pool, the metadata in this page called pool. So when I change it to a new page, let me see. So this thing updates automatically. If I'm on to do, it will display it as to do. If I'm on random file, it will show that. So what I can do is I can constantly extract instead of okay I can do it this way as well, or I can uh, extract it from this pool page as well. Okay. So this works perfectly. And in the conversions, if you see, the file name is pool. I am finding for this and I'm replacing it with the current file. So I'm doing the same thing but with a two-step process where I can just click on a file, the metadata inside the pool page will change, and the task done page will get that metadata, that get that property and then display it. So the advantage of this is instead of having a separate block in the template, instead of having this, I can just insert the task done page. Uh, yeah, I can just preview the task done page. So that huge block, this saves for the storage. Just when I create a new page, only this part gets added. So let's try to view that. For example, instead of this whole thing, I can just have task done. So when I view this, so the same thing is achieved, but with uh, a two-step process, but saving for a lot of storage in the long run. When I switch to a different uh, node, instead of this whole block, I can just have task done. I can just view that. I can do the same thing over here or over here, but that's what happens. So if you notice, when I change to a new page, for a second you see the old pages contents, but it refreshes quickly. So yeah, that's about it. The plugin that I've created is called Task Data View plugin, and the only thing that you'll have to enter is the file path of the conversions. So mine is called conversions.md. Whatever file you have where you store all the conversions, you have to mention that in the settings. And the way you write the conversions, you'll have to follow this rule. The first you'll mention the file name, file path, the find rule using regular expression, and then what you want to replace it with. And at the end, you'll have to mention this period. So let's try to create another rule. In my random file, let's say I have this text and I want to add an extra zero every time I open a new page. So in conversions, let's say my page is random file. My file rule is abc0. I want to replace that by abc0. Okay. And then at the end, I'll have a period. Let's try to see if this works. Let me reload this. Okay, now let us preview this random file. I'll put it here. And every time I go to a new file, it has to, yeah, it will add a zero because it is replacing abc0 with abc00. So that's why every time I go to a new file, it's adding more zeros at the end. So yeah, this plugin is much more powerful. One special use case is updating the data view block for the to-do list, but you can do much more. You can have advanced resets, expressions, and replace rules. The plugin is on my GitHub page. With today's task, I'll probably edit this, and I'll also release another latest version. I'll mention all the links for you to download. So yeah, that's about it.